I'm just like, I love anything that's just, that tropical ecosystem is just such it calls to me.
Yeah,
What can I say?
it's really beautiful. And right now I'm in Uluwatu, which is like kind of like on a little peninsula in Bali, and it's like there's so much more nature here, and I think that's why I've like stayed. And there's like cliffs and beaches and trees, and it's really nice here.
I bet. Why Bali?
Honestly, last year I was in Peru, and I don't know, like obviously I was kind of thinking about like, okay, I really like traveling, and Bali came up a few times, and then it was kind of just a feeling like, okay, my next trip is gonna be in Asia. My next trip is gonna be in Bali, and Bali kept coming up, and everybody kept telling me about Bali, and I was like, maybe it's a sign. Maybe I should just go to Bali, and then I kind of
Yeah,
like
just go.
exactly.
It's like, why
Exactly. So
not?
why not? So kind of a year ago I decided, and then it kind of was like kind of like an open idea. And then it kind of started to fall in line with what I wanted to do. And I was like, this is a great place to get inspiration and like for my career and stuff. So I think that's why I'm also here, because it's warm, it's Asia. There's a lot of people, like innovative entrepreneurs here. It's like the hub of career, really. And especially like digital nomads. It's an insane place actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just admire people that say like fuck it and just are like out there doing the thing. They're like, when am I coming home? I don't
I
know. You
know.
tell me. When are we going home? Like,
Literally. It's
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
literally.
You're like, visas. We'll figure it out, fam.
Literally.
It's nothing. Whereas like for me, like I remember when I was traveling through Asia with my dad, like I was just like stressed about like getting visas and like because like they have like dates and
Yep.
obviously everything works out, but it's just like I don't know the bureaucracy
Oh
of it
yeah.
of like
Oh
traveling
yeah.
to.
Oh yeah. No, like I just overstayed for 2 days by accident. Like not by accident. Like I found out the day before, and then like it was Easter weekend, so I couldn't give in my request when I should have been able to, but it was Easter, so like today I have to go bring my passport. It's a lot. It's a lot. Not gonna lie. Like that's a part of travel, but like I've come to the point where I'm kind of like I accept the things the way they come, and I'm just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. It's gonna cost me money. Whatever. I just gotta deal with it. Like you make mistakes to learn, and I'm damn well sure I won't make this mistake again. So,
I feel it. That's what life's about, right? It's the trial and error, right? And I feel like it really takes like embracing the
mm-hmm.
uncertainty of like what you have to do and where you have to go. But for me, I feel like almost like I don't know, like I feel like our society's almost tricked ourselves into thinking that like having an agenda and a plan is like the
Mm-hmm.
norm. But like really the norm was like having every day sort of be unknown
Mm-hmm.
and like having to just figure it out and
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, shit, you got to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we paying
Mm-hmm.
for that,
Exactly.
and just keeping it pushing instead of like almost being like kind of neurotic about it. Like you
Mm-hmm.
have to have appointments just to
Mm-hmm.
go to just a bunch of yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. That's like a big reason that I decided to leave, because on my first travel last year, well, my first big travel, it was really like I just realized I didn't want to live that life. Like I already knew in my heart, but it was hard to accept because like of social pressures and stuff. And it was like, oh, you gotta go to school, you gotta finish in 4 years, you gotta get a job, you gotta be successful. And I'm like, success is not the question. It's the fact that I don't want to do it like that, and I don't want to do it there. And I think like the pressure something that held me back a long time, and like now I'm just like I want to live my life the way I live my life and do my life for me, because at the end of the day when I'm on my deathbed I'm the only one that's going to remember all of it, and it's mine. It's like the only thing that's mine, and I feel like everybody else should also follow what their heart is telling them, because it's like you could go and you could live this whole plan that your parents wanted for you but they actually wanted for themselves, and the things that society tells you, oh, this is success. But it's like if you're so unhappy, what actually is that actually success? For me it's not. For me it's not. And it's like if I'm not doing what I love and I still am really discovering that, it's like why am I there? Why am I doing that? For me it doesn't make any sense.
I feel it. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, I feel it. I think but yeah, it like what, like, did you always sort of have that like heart pulse that was like, Lynn, you got to sit, like, you just, it's just like, skirt, what are you doing? Let's pull you over here. Cause I feel like that drive, I feel like we all have it, but it's like people sort of, like, for some people it kind of is like a flame that
Yeah,
dims a
definitely.
bit, whereas like for some it's like you can't not follow
Yeah.
where your gut is like telling you to go.
Yeah. I mean, I think I always had that. I definitely always had that drive to do what I wanted to do. Nobody could tell me what to do. I mean, they could, and I'd probably do it, but like, I've always done a little bit of take salt. And I mean, I think my body gave it to me in ways of like becoming very unhappy, but also physically ill. Like, I can't deny myself the things that fulfill me because like I will get sick and I have been sick, and I'm not saying that I'm completely better, but like my body, as soon as I left Europe, like at the end I was like, I was having like chronic migraines and like tension headaches and back pain, and like literally within 2 days of me leaving it was like 90% gone. And it only comes like one day it came when I sat behind my laptop for 2 hours, and then I got like a tension headache again. And I was like, see, it's not, there's nothing physically wrong with me. It's just stress. And it's just like, it's telling me what I need and what I don't need. And like, I've come to the acceptance of like, if I don't follow that, I will get sick. So yes, I've always had a very strong will, completely, 100%. And I think I continue to follow that. But I'm not even gonna lie, when I was in Europe, that strong will was faded. Like, you kind of start to flow into like the routine and the lifestyle. I think I put like this pink cloud over me, like to be like everything's okay, but it really wasn't until that pink veil was like ripped apart, like ripped off, like very harshly, and then I was like, oh god, I need to get out of here. So
Like, now is the
that was the
time,
time.
okay? Like, this is not
No,
it.
it was not it. So like, I mean, yes and no, but I think everyone has it. But it's like it's a matter of will you follow it or will you not. But also, I mean, I think that some people are more like go with the flow. They're more like the word that's coming to my head is like sheep, but it's not in a bad way. Like some people are better at following, and like sometimes I envy those people. I just can't be that person.
Hey, I think everybody has their role to play. Like,
Exactly.
it was one of the things that I was talking, like, my coach was telling me about this, like, human
Mhm.
design, which is like, there's like all of these different sorts of, I guess, things you could do to learn about yourself.
Mhm.
There's like the personality quizzes and stuff, but this was one that was like talking about like the different roles that people play in society structure. And like, the sheep is a role that needs
And
to
a
be
very
played,
important
by
role.
like somebody. Exactly. Like, you need people that are generators is what they're called, essentially, that like their job is to build, like to do, to like create work.
Mhm.
And like, you need people to do that. And there's people that like they wake up and they're just ready to
Mhm.
go, like ready to do
Mhm.
the 9 to
Mhm.
5, love that shit,
Mhm.
eat it up. And you need people
You
like
definitely
that. But
do.
it's like you also need the people that are like, fuck that. Like, I want to just
Yeah.
create, and I just want to peep some shit. I just want to see what y'all are
Yeah.
doing, challenge the status quo,
Mhm.
throw some shade, and somehow society, it keeps on trucking.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Definitely. And like, I also did one of those like a few personality tests in my study, and like, so it was like heart, hands, head. I think there was maybe one more, but it was like I was like all heart and head, no hands. So it's like I need people to
mm,
support me in those ways, and I think everybody needs themselves to be filled up with the things that they don't have as given to them naturally, put it that way, because it's not like you can't do it. It's just it doesn't you have to really put a lot more effort. But if it comes to them naturally, and they do it without effort, have them take that role. Like, that's important too. It's important to be able to give away your power, and it's like to give away the control to others and trust others and like work together. And that's, I think, something that after living in a very, like, ultimately we're moving towards a very individualistic society, and like in the West, and it's like living in that, there's kind of like this idea of like, oh, you have to be able to do it by yourself. And it's like, okay, I agree with that to a certain extent, but it's like, I don't need to have to do everything by myself because that's too much. That's why you have, in a business, you have multiple people working together. That's why there's villages, and that's why you have family to help like raise a child, to help build community. It's like, it's important. It's super important. And I think everybody has a role to play, but everybody should be in their role. Like, everybody should be following their role, what they need.
Facts, facts. I feel like we're kind of in a weird place where I think people to some degree are doing roles that they're not happy doing and they're miserable. And then there's people that want those roles and they're like, well, now I'm stuck doing shit I don't want to do because you're in this role being miserable. And now we're both miserable because we're both lying to ourselves. But we can do it, you know, like I got it, like I'm strong, I can do whatever. Like it's just kind of like I think it's very amusing, like the individuality thing, because I've been guilty of
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
you know,
same.
definitely. Like I'm strong,
Same.
I don't need anybody, I don't need
Mm-hmm.
help.
You do.
Jokes on me, you know, like obviously gotta learn the hard way, but it's just like amusing that we sort of like our egos trick ourselves into thinking that like we can survive on our own, but it's like that's literally like just like inaccurate. Like literally just even like the breaths that we take, like you're all the way in Bali, I'm all the way here in Washington, but we're both breathing from the same air, you know, sharing this
Mm-hmm.
resource, but it's like I can't be like, Lynn, you're breathing too
Yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah.
Stop. You know what I mean? This is about
Mm-hmm.
me. I need this air. You can go screw
Mm-hmm.
yourself. And I'm just gonna take it because I need it.
Yeah.
And you don't. You
Yeah.
don't need it as much. You're breathing too
You're
much,
so
you know,
right
I don't
about
know.
that.
Using all that
You're very
oxygen.
right about that. About like, it kind of also becomes like, it's all about me and not, I don't really know how to say it in English, but like, to not hun someone, to not really want for someone to also achieve things and prosper. It's like, oh no, I need to prosper. When you're in that community.
It's like an idea of scarcity. You
Mm,
know, like there's not enough.
yes. Yes. Meanwhile,
And that's like also a lie that oh, it's a hard one to get out of like there's not
hmm,
enough. It's like but
but there
there is.
is.
If we all just, you know, stop being a little selfish, we would see that there's actually more than enough. There's an abundance. And it's like, yeah, these frameworks, man, they get you. But I'm curious, like, why Europe? So, like, what got you to Europe in the like? Was it just like always part of the plan to go there, or just kind of following the? Well, you know, you graduate, so you kind of got to go
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
something.
So I'll tell you a little story about how that happened. So Irma happened in 2017, and that was the year I graduated. So I just graduated high school. Irma happened, and I was planned to go to France like 2 weeks after Irma happened. Like, that was planned for months, and I ended up still catching that flight and going to France. And in that time, I was supposed to be thinking about college, but I mean, natural disaster. I mean, you don't really have mind space to think about that. So,
Got healing to do,
oh
you
my
know?
god, I had some processing to do, and like alone on the other side of the world. So that was like, I didn't really. There was like I said, the support system. Like, there was no support system in that time. So I was just practically just trying to get through through France. And I visited one school, which was the school I ended up going to. But I remember towards the end of that year, I was like, Mama, no, I don't think I want to go to college yet. I think I want to take another year off because I'd seen some people do it in like EF, which is the school I went to in that gap year. And she was like, I will never forget these words. She said, "Well, then you better get that thought out of your head real quick because you're going." I was like, okay. And then she was like, and then I remember bringing it up a few years before. I was like, Mama, I don't want to go to Holland. Like, as a kid, I knew that Holland was not my place, even though I'd never really been there. And she was also like, well, also, you better get the thought out of your head real quick because you're going to Holland and there's no other choice. You have
It's like
no
I
other.
don't know what to tell you. Plan
She
has
was like,
been
you have
made.
no other choice.
Tickets been bought.
Literally. So it's kind of like, because we also get student financing there. So that was like the best option for me. Um, so I think that's the biggest reason because of the good schools and the financing, and so that was kind of like how that got set up. But I didn't want to go from the jump. From when I was a kid, I didn't like, and I just knew it wasn't my place. As a kid, you have this wisdom in you, and I just knew. And but I ended up going there, and I ended up like in the totality of what was it, 5 years, five, a little bit, I don't know, five, 4.5 years, maybe 5 years, something like that. I was there for 3. So I did my time. I finished everything that I needed to finish there, and now I've like, like it was really like another chapter because it was like, oh wow, I did that. I finished what I needed to do, so I can now like finally like spread my wings and do what I want, and like finish my school the way
Preach.
I need and I want, and in the places that I want. Because environment is important. People are like, no, it's all about your mindset. No, it's not. No, it is not just about your mindset. It's not. It is part of it, but your environment is important too. Like, so yeah.
The energy of a space, they rub off. It really does. And I feel like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know if it's about the fact that we grew up in such a interesting place. I feel like St. Martin has such a unique energy about it that like when you go into these more western societies, I feel like you very much get like, yeah, this like the energy like just off the jump, you can tell
Yeah, it
is
is
different.
different.
Like I don't even you don't even have to say nothing. It's just like you get off the plane and you're like,
Mhm. 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 Smell different, look different, feel different, colors look different. Everything is different.
it's like, is it me?
Uh-uh.
Is it me
Uh-uh.
or is it them?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah,
It's like something is
it's,
just different. I don't
it's different.
know. The people look human, but they're
Yeah,
acting weird. I don't know what's up with these
literally
people.
that takes you
And
used
then you
to.
go home and it's just like, oh my god, these are my people. I get
Mhm.
it now.
Mhm.
Like, yes.
And like I think for me also, like I kind of like scavenged the world looking for home, and I think what I found in that all that traveling and all that moving and running, and like I think I found like my home is home. My home will always be home, and like definitely my plan after this is to go back home and go back to my country and be able to use the tools and the experiences that I gathered to bring that back to my country and like do something for society and do something for my country and my land, and like
Mm,
that's super important to me, and I'm really grateful that I've discovered that. Um, and I'm really, really excited to go home. And not gonna lie, the first few weeks here, I was just like, I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home. And that's also part of travel is missing home. I haven't been home in almost a year. It's the longest I haven't been home, and I was just missing home. And I was missing home in Holland. I was missing home here. And now I'm starting to accept that I might be here for a while, and I'm starting to really. I'm like, I mean, no, I've been enjoying it since the beginning, but my head has been disagreeing. But now I'm really embracing being here and like letting everything kind of like flow and like being like I have time. I have time in my day. I need to embrace that time and use that time for things that I really enjoy, like why I came here. Why did I come here? And now I'm like remembering that and really kind of like starting to settle in. Hence why I missed my visa and decided to extend because I'm not done with Bali. And I think I will come back here and like live here for a little bit because it just feels good.
yeah.
Feels good.
Yeah. I feel like yeah, well you gotta just listen to your body. It really be trying to tell us things.
Mm,
And half the time our brain is like, I don't wanna
I
hear
don't want to
you. Just
hear
shush,
you.
okay? Now is not the time. Now is not the time. Okay. Can't you see we have shit to
Yeah.
do? Or you wanna bring up these
Mhm.
feelings?
Mhm.
Oh no.
Agreed.
But I'm curious, you said like you now kind of know what you want to
Yeah.
do. Do you care to elaborate?
So the journey there is very it keeps getting clearer, but like it keeps getting clearer in different ways, and then it changes. The road is very bendy, um,
I feel it.
but
We love the bendy
yes,
roads
it's
though,
so
right? It
fun.
makes it fun. When you look back, you're like, "Oh my gosh, look at us.
Yeah,
Look at where we've
yeah.
come."
So I think something that's really important to me is I would like to. I mean, I will do something for the community on St. Martin. I think it's like I'm not gonna lie, it's a little like nerve wracking to share that with people from St. Martin because I've never like shared that with people from St. Martin. But here it is. Don't hold me to it in 20 years. um,
Like this is just what we're thinking in
yeah,
the
this
moment.
is the growing
Okay?
idea.
Things are open to change, guys. Do not
Don't
get
get
attached.
attached. Um,
Okay? This is just in the now. It's just for the now.
yes.
Yeah.
So it actually, I didn't tell you the story behind it because it kind of started in Peru. Like I was with my shaman, and like I had a dream about a horse that wouldn't walk properly.
Wait. Hold up. Your shaman, is this an ayahuasca shaman or just a regular medicine man
Um,
shaman? Okay, we need to clarify.
um, um, how
Answer
I'll
heard, received. I got
okay.
it.
So I did what I did, and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud of it. So,
Your shaman, cool. It's a bet. We on the
anyways,
same page.
so he was like, "So what's up with this horse that wouldn't walk?" Because I was trying to ride it and he wouldn't walk properly. And then he was like, "What's up with this horse?" And I was like, "I don't know. I used to do horseback riding." And then he's like, "No, like where are your passions?" And I was like, "I don't know. I want to do all these things and I just don't know how to get there." And he was like, "Ah, so there's the horse." And I was like, "Okay." Okay, he's like, your passions aren't flowing. They're not walking properly. You can't get anywhere with them because it's like you can't move forward properly. And then he's like, what do you want? How do you want to spend your life? And the first thing that came out of my mouth was, I want to live by a beach, and I want to be surrounded by art, and I want to be surrounded by love, and I want to be surrounded by really good people, and a lot of nature, and a lot of really good food. So that was kind of my answer.
The food part is key.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, ah, yes,
Mm-hmm. And
yes.
wellness. Don't forget that. So I was like, that's what he said. That's what I said to him. And he was like, why don't you start a retreat center? And I was like, what do you mean? I can't. I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, look at this place. We don't do it all by ourselves. Um, he was like, I have people to help me, and you just need to find your people to help you and do that. And that kind of started the idea for me. And then it kind of like merged from retreat center to retreat center and community center. So the retreat center would fund the community center. And I just want to like, this is like the idea that's completely sad. I think I will have a retreat center one day, but like, I think for me, the most important thing is the community center. Like I would like, and I kind of like, this is recent thought, like a communal retreat center, like where people can come and everybody is welcome. And the only rule is you have to be there with good intention and with love, because you can't be coming in here trying to destroy other people, because that's not why we're there. If you're willing to work on it, we're there because there will be support. I would hope for there to be like a lot of support and a lot of really good food and like a place where people can come and gather and like make art and music and have like cultural events and like just a place where people can exist without with like no judgment, but like obviously it's like a really big statement, but like that's the hope and that's the dream. And like to have just like a place where people can feel safe and be able to express themselves and take care of themselves as well. So that's kind of like the big goal. Be surrounded by all the things that I mentioned: art, nature, good food, good people, and wellness. Like that's the big dream. And my discovery path to it has been, I did a health and wellness coaching course, holistic health and wellness coaching, which was super fun. Left me with a lot. It was a lot. Um, Kind of starting like when I did it, I realized I didn't really like one-on-one coaching so much, but ultimately I set up a workshop which was like holistic stress management, which was super fun. Um, and now I'm like, okay, I don't really want to do one-on. I'm starting to really realize that I don't really want to do one-on-one coaching. Like it's great and it's something that I can do, but it takes so much energy that I'm like, I don't know if I want to be doing that with my time. But art was something that came up a lot in Peru. It was like art, be art, do art, breathe art, live art, be art. And I was just like, that's a lot of art. And I have no art in my life right now. So I know that I knew that I needed to incorporate that in my life. And I didn't know how. And then I started with the health and wellness coaching thing and with the thing that I was doing for school, which was like meaningful entrepreneurship. And I was just like, and the question stayed with me, how do I incorporate art into this? And coming here, I feel like it's starting to like come together. Like last year I worked on a film festival. So fun. So fun. Uh, it was
That's
so
so
cool. We just lived
cool.
in tents and watched theater and served food and danced, and
Oh
we were
my
just kids for the
gosh.
whole summer. It was just
Can I just like hide in your suitcase? Like just Just be like, she's don't worry about her. She's
Yeah,
just here for the
she's just here. She's like
experience.
the one backpacking in my backpack. Like she's good.
Yeah, I'm just here with the GoPro, just trying to
Yeah,
capture, document,
yeah.
guys. Don't worry about me.
So that was super fun, and that was like kind of the introduction to like performing arts. And then like in a few months ago, I had this like weekend away with all these amazing artists. Like it was so incredible. And I think like we had like this one song where like it's like 20 plus people were singing along, and there's like seven instruments and everybody's beautiful voices, and oh, they're so talented. And then I experienced like euphoria from music, and then like all of a sudden these songs started coming out of my mouth, and I sang in public, and I've been really enjoying music so much. And I've been really starting to get, I've been craving painting again. I've been craving like art again. And I'm like, been writing more. And like, so that creative part of me is I'm like allowing it to exist after like years of suppression. And like, I'm so excited on where it's going. And like, now I jam with my friends all the time. I see a guitar and I'm there and I'm like, where's the cajon? So it's just been a journey of like discovering music, discovering um, writing, discovering storytelling. Like I really realized I would love to do some storytelling and don't know yet how or where or when or whatever. But it's like all ideas that are starting to form, and like from all the inspiration around me, but not just inspiration around me, but like seeing that that's something that I really enjoy. Not, oh, I think I'll enjoy it, but like I'm seeing myself do it and love it and like be it. So
You're like in the moment
yeah,
present with yourself as you're going through all
definitely.
that.
So that's been
Yeah.
like a huge change, and like I've thought about all the things that I want to do. I've always thought
Mm.
about them, but now I'm like doing a lot of things that I want to do. So
Yeah.
I'm seeing it become like more artistic and less like I love biology. Like, look, I was writing yesterday. I gave myself a little exercise to write like little story with the ABCs. So and then like all of them were biological statements, and I was just like, I am a biologist by heart. I am, but it's not how I want to work. So it's funny to see like all those people exist inside of me because like they're all there. They're all very present. But I think science is a
Hmm.
little bit like at least the research part of science it doesn't stimulate me the way that all these other things do, and the way that art does, and the way that people do. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I feel it just in your energy when you talk
yeah,
about this stuff. Like, it's just like I'm like already, I'm like 100%
oh.
supportive. I'm just like, yes, yes, let's build a center, let's
Yeah,
jam
let's
out,
jam.
let's cry together, kumbaya. I'm just like, I'm here for it. I'm like, I don't know any instrument
Me neither.
really well, but I'm willing to be there and just
I
vibing,
love that.
like
I love
I'm
that.
ready. I'm like, sign me up. I'm like, okay, Lynn is moving home soon. Put that on the list of people that'll be there. Okay, okay. Because I'm telling you, I'm trying to plot my little pivot, or at least like be on the
Uh
island part
huh.
time or whatever. I totally feel you when it comes to like science. I realize like even for me, like I love engineering because it gives me this toolkit, but I agree that I felt like it wasn't feeding my
Mhm.
creativity as much as like in high school or
Mhm.
like just like as a kid, like you're a lot more you have like more opportunity to be
Yes.
creative. I felt like in school it was very like this is your focus and you really can't deviate from that. And like I feel like with science it's like everything is logical, it's black and white. There is no gray and you have to like follow that.
Yeah.
Otherwise a bunch of people are dead and you're
Yeah.
like, fuck, I didn't mean for any of this to happen.
Yeah. Make it so dramatic, huh?
I'm sorry. But like art is just very free. Like it's just 100% just pure
Mhm.
your consciousness splat on a medium,
Mhm.
whatever that medium is, whether it's film, music, photography, mixed media,
Mhm.
whatever. And it's just like I feel like the purest sense of who we are in our means of trying to connect with others. It's like this weird thing of like I'm trying to connect with you in a way that's not
Yeah.
words but it can
Can you
use
exactly?
words as like one of the vehicle. It's just there's so many
I
layers
would
to
say like
it.
without
Honestly, the way humans
maybe without like
do
language, like
stuff.
without like a conversation,
Yeah,
like communicate in a way that doesn't necessarily include a conversation.
Yeah, it's just a very, I feel like it's a more complex way of
Yeah.
communicating art, because it's like saying things that we feel without like having to explain the feeling. It's like you look at it or you observe it and that feeling translates. Yeah,
Mhm.
like even in a good song, it's just like the essence
Mhm.
of what that artist is like pouring out of their
Mhm.
soul. You're like, yes,
Mhm.
yes, I
Mhm.
feel you, I see you. And I think it's like that feeling and seeing, that is like the connection that I feel like is
Yeah.
like what our whole consciousness shit is
Yeah.
all about. It's like how do I see myself in you just through the way that you express
Yeah.
yourself?
And
Like,
even
it's such an
it
interesting
definitely, but
thing.
even in the moments where when you're feeling not just yourself, but you're feeling like you are completely detached from what you're receiving, because it's like, wow, this person, I don't know what that feeling is, but they just gave me a taste of that, you know. That I think is also beautiful with the translation.
The discovery. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Being able to discover other parts of you through somebody else. Aw. Isn't that community right there? I'm like, oh gosh, how could you do that as an individual? I'm like, explain to me,
Yeah.
society,
But what are
explain.
you actually like doing now? Like just out of, because I really actually don't know. Yeah.
So right now I work as a hardware engineer at Surface. So I work on like product and like all of the next generation like shit they want to ship. Um and like my background has been electrical engineering, so it's been a lot of like energy. Like honestly, the reason I studied electrical engineering was because I was curious about energy and frequency,
Interesting.
and I was like, I need to understand
Yeah.
this. And it's funny because when I went to study it and like people were telling me about like electrical engineering, I was like, yeah, there's no way in hell I'm going to do that. Like why would I put myself through all that suffering?
Hmm.
Like it just seems like a lot of stress for no reason. And then sure enough, that's exactly where I
Yeah.
landed. I was like, it just called me. Like as much as I knew it was difficult,
Hmm.
I was just so consumed by like what I was learning. For me, it was like kind of a self-discovery process. It was like reteaching myself the language to express what I'm experiencing in the moment. And it's just like for me, like learning all that stuff was like a way to give myself a framework to understand like the reality of like just experience and like how we're here and how I can hear you and see you and like have all of these different things that are grounded in energy. But when we walk around in the world, we don't often see it that way. Like we see it through our ego's perspective and not really for the reality
Yeah.
of what it is. And we don't even like science, I realized, didn't really even train me in the idea of like the role that we as the observer play in like our experiments and in our discoveries and in our acquisition of knowledge. That for me, like the whole spiritual side of like even me going deeper in my own like work and seeing how that relates to like energy and electrical engineering has been like I'm
Yeah.
obsessed. What can I say?
Yeah. Yeah. That's so.
Like I'm just so
I love
into
that. I
it.
love when people are like, this is where I'm at, and I love what I do.
It's crazy. This is what I was saying. Like it's like that string that I feel like you can't
No,
deny like what you're meant to do
you
on
really
this
can't.
earth. Like it feels almost like a destiny thing. It's like even if I fight it, me fighting is part of
Yeah,
the journey of
for
getting to
sure.
it. It's like this weird like thing. I don't know, but it's like beautiful at
Yeah,
the same time.
and it
It's
keeps coming back in
yeah.
all these
It's
different
great.
forms. Like I remember when I was
Exactly.
15, this man came up to me and he grabs my hand, and he was like a friend of my mom, and he's like part of Rotary, and he grabs my hand and he's like, "Oh," he's like, "You don't care about money," and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "What is this man?" I was like, "What is this man starting to tell me about me?" I was like, "You don't know me." I was like, "I never met you before," and he's like, "Don't worry, you're gonna do something great for society, but don't worry, you'll get there. Like, don't worry about it." And I was like, I don't know. He said a few other things, and I remember like tearing up a bit because I was like, he's like, you like people, you want to do something for society, and I was 15 at the time. And meanwhile, look, I've studied biology, I've traveled around the world, but it's like it kept coming back down to that. And like in my first year of college, like after my first year I was considering switching to psychology, and then my teacher was kind of like, then this is your thing, you just need to start learning outside of school, which I did, and then I enjoyed my study a lot more. But I love my study, don't get me wrong, I can tell you about plants all day. and 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 then it's came back with like the whole health and wellness thing, and like um how I want to like see other people flourish and stuff. And like in my last specialization, it was like how that came along. How do I want to put myself in for society? And it's like it's just been coming back in all these ways. And I think what I'm figuring out is how do I bring that to the world, and not like if it's something that I want to do because it's something I know I'm gonna do. Um, but the how is still like free.
I feel it. It's like you know the direction. You know exactly
Yeah.
where you're trying to go. You have no freaking clue how you're
No.
going to get there. But you're like, I just know if I keep just taking
Yep.
one step and I just look at what's in front of me,
Yeah.
eventually we're gonna
Yeah.
get there.
Definitely. And it's like also letting go.
And when you get there, it's just like, what, how? You're just like, you look back and it's just like, holy
We
shit,
got
we
here.
got here.
We got here,
What?
and through all those random encounters, like I ended up in Bali because of those encounters. Like I ended up in music and in like those things because of random encounters, and not because, I mean, yes, it was in my heart, but it was like those people led me there. And I really believe, like I really believe that everything happens for a reason, and like I really believe that because it's been shown. Yesterday I ran into someone who 6 years ago we spent Christmas together because he was like a seasonal friend of my sister. I ran into him in the bar here in Bali. Explain that to me? I can't.
The world ain't
It's
big. I
it's like
feel
everything
it.
happens for a reason. You meet people for a reason. You're inspired for a reason, and it's like I could think about in the beginning. I had, when I got here, I was all these questions: how am I gonna get there? What am I gonna do? Where am I gonna go? Where am I like, especially like where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna stay? And where do I need to be? And I was like, and then like I don't know. I had like a night where I just kind of wrote down all the questions because they were like occupying my mind way too much. And I just like had a day at the beach, and I just like wrote them down. And like since then, those questions have barely been in my mind. And it's like by letting go of the questions, you are able to experience where you're supposed to be, and like where you're supposed to go. Like I'm finally like living, I think, the things that I always wanted but only could think about because my surroundings didn't
Yeah.
facilitate that for me, or I didn't know how to facilitate
Yeah.
that for myself, put it that way. Didn't know how to find it.
Yeah.
So, and let me
Exactly.
tell you, Bali is like, it's like all the things that I said this is gonna happen in Bali. As soon as I got here, it just like hit me one by one. It was like boom, 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 and then I was a little overwhelmed. And then I was like, "Oh, so don't like when you like."
I feel that Lynn, you are striking a chord right now because I feel that it's crazy. Honestly, it's like when you show up for yourself and you know, like you just know. It's crazy how the universe is like,
Yep,
boo, I got you. I
yep,
got you. Look at you doing the
yeah,
work. I got you, boo. Don't worry. I know you it's
yeah,
a little fog, but don't you lose faith for
yeah,
even a second. I
yeah,
got
definitely.
you. And you'll be like, how in the hell? It's like, don't worry, like you were saying, like it's just like I don't know, it's like it's just crazy. That's where I was like thinking about this whole term of synchronicity because it just seems it's like even when you think you're not on the right path, you
Hmm.
are. It's just like giving yourself the space to work through it because I think often like we get caught up in like all those questions that we forget to kind of see ourselves in the moment for what it is and see that like you are on the path. All these questions you're asking are meant to
Hmm.
be asked. It's for you to
Hmm.
work through. And then once you work through them and you let go, then you have that relief of just like, holy shit, like I'm exactly where I knew I would be. Couldn't tell you how, but we are you look around and you're just like, holy shit, how did
Yeah,
we get here?
yeah, yeah. Life
Beautiful.
is beautiful
Oh, so
in so
beautiful.
many ways, and And I was just thinking about it, just like randomly, and it's like, yes, I did meet ayahuasca, and I'm not ashamed of that. I just wanted to like point that out, and I was like, should I say yes, I
Hell
did,
yeah.
and it was one of the best decisions of my entire life, and I wouldn't be here today without it.
I
And that's
bet.
something you could talk about for hours, but I just wanted to make that statement.
I know. Girl, you already know I'm gonna be in them DMs. Don't even don't even.
Yeah.
No, I think it's just like it's an incredible tool, I think, in just self like awareness, and I think like a lot of people could benefit from it. And there's lots of other things you could do to build up to that kind of
Mm-hmm.
experience, but it's a beautiful thing, I think, when we are able to sort of
Yep.
surrender everything that we think we have to be
Yeah.
and just be and just love
That,
ourselves in that
like, I
rawness,
think
like
out of everything that I
completely.
learned there, it was self love. I think that was the biggest lesson for me in that whole Peru experience and Costa Rica experience. It was get to know myself, love myself, because without self love, you will never reach anywhere. And I think that's also, I think that's like, it's the most important thing. It's the most important thing.